Hello, everyone. Reflect and Reset with Maria and Gina, your favorite show on Wednesday. GC, how we're doing?
Busy day.
I know.
Really busy day, but it's a good day.
It was a productive day.
Very productive.
Yeah. Well, I had a productive day too.
Yes, she got to go boating today.
Yes, I got an amazing call from my son. And the beauty of having partners is that you can support each other, right?
Absolutely.
And my son invited me to go sailing with him. And out of the blue, I came in all dressed up to do the show and work. And I decided to be spontaneous and just go. And Gina encouraged me to do that,
Yep.
which is what we do. And I got to spend a valuable, beautiful time with my son. So
And the place did not burn down without you.
it did not,
No.
because we have an amazing team. But let's go into our show. We have an interesting show today, a show that I think everybody needs to watch because virtual meetings and public speaking virtually is now the new thing
Right.
during COVID, right?
Yeah.
And for that, we have a special guest with us
Okay,
today.
let me try not to botch your name there, Renata. It's Renata Agendas, and she is a professional
Agende.
public speaker. Agendas. Well, that's
Yeah.
my Spanish
That's-
for you.
It's beautiful.
So she's actually a professional speech coach.
Gina, absolutely
Yes.
perfect. You said it perfect.
But Renata is a professional speech coach that actually has been working with my partner in Spanish
Almost a year.
almost a year.
Yeah, but she does it in English too.
Mhm.
I just happened to know that I wanted to improve the way that I spoke Spanish, and
Yeah.
Renata has worked with me and has done an amazing job.
Because actually, believe it or not, because she doesn't speak Spanish all the time, Spanish really is your second language also.
Yeah.
You know, where English is your second language, you don't actually have a first language.
Renata, I don't have a first language.
English is your second language and Spanish is your
Well-
second language.
Well, this is the moment that you have to say my first language is love. So that's
That's definitely her first language.
That's definitely love and kindness.
Love and kindness.
That's
Yeah,
a
love and
very
kindness.
good one, Renata.
love and kindness is my first language. So great. Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you, girls, for this amazing show that you give every single week, serving the community and, of course, informing with different things and giving the opportunity to different entrepreneurs to show their businesses and what are they doing.
Well, Renata, what you do now has become even more valuable. I know that, like Gina was saying, I decided that if I was going to speak in Spanish and I was going to want to make an impact, that in order to do that, I really needed to learn how to speak properly. But in addition to that, how to improvise, how to communicate in a more effective way. And I think now with this era that we're living with COVID, it's become even more valuable to really understand how you should be presenting yourself virtually. So can you talk a little bit about how COVID is changing the new, public speaking era?
So COVID definitely changed the game. We have people that never in their lives thought that they were going to do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live to show or to be able to project what they're doing as professionally speaking, right? Right now, of course, quarantine played a massive game with that, and we have people from their houses doing these incredible shows. I'm not joking. I've seen people from Hispanics, Americans from all over the world, even moms, dads, showing different things. Like, for example, there's people of 40 up doing videos in TikTok and hosting lives and doing, different Instagramming a lot. So, but for this, of course, then you say they had to be pushed to do it, right? So it had to that was the whole point, that people had to be pushed, in order to do it. And when you talk about public speaking, one of the things that I always say is that 90% of the people, they come to me and they say, Renata, I am so scared of the camera. I don't know how to speak naturally in front of a camera. So when we connect that, I always say public speaking is one of the phobias that you have to just do it and be pushed to do it in order to be able to do it successfully. So this quarantine pushed everyone to do it, and look at the results. We have people that we never thought that they were going to be hosting shows or hosting, Facebook lives or interviewing, and voila, there you go.
That's a good point, because one of our doctors, I'm not going to name who, is actually sweats and panics in front of the camera. Meanwhile, the man has so much knowledge. And we have been trying to get him to do a Facebook Live with us, or just do videos, informative videos. And he panics to the point where he's going to pass out. And it's a phobia. And I mean, you broke him a little
Yeah.
to do a video.
But then COVID came, and
Yeah.
then we sort of stopped,
Yeah.
and now he's completely backwards.
But he would be amazing to be able to give the information that he knows. And I don't want to use who he is, but we're working on him. And maybe it's something that you need to work on him, because it's funny. It's true. Your camera starts, and all of a sudden you're like, and Maria and I, we don't stop talking, but other people just don't know what to say.
Yes. So one of the programs that I'm releasing right now is called Authentic Communication. It's the art of speaking from the heart. One of the things that is like very, very important to understand is that when we are doing public speaking, when we are in front of a camera, we're exposing ourselves. So we are touching our vulnerability. And when we don't work on that, our fear is not the camera, technically. Our fear is judgment. So when we don't work that, is when we get fear, when we get sweat. This doctor, maybe, like you said, he's brilliant, but he's not scared of the camera per se. He's scared of judgment, of how people is going to look at him, of what people are going to say. So this is one of the things that I always tell people. People will always talk. They will always have a comment. It doesn't matter if you do it perfectly, or it doesn't matter if you do it wrong. They will always have a comment. So whatever you do, even if you are the champion of the world in public speaking, by the way, there is a championship for that. Even if you are a champion on that, I'm not joking. People will always talk. So you're better off just, connecting with that and saying, they're gonna speak anyway. Whatever. It's better for me to just get on with it. And he has to do it. He has to train. Record himself in front of a mirror. Record himself with a phone. Take a look at what he didn't like. This and that. I mean, this is not easy. And I personally think that is a complicated thing when you've never done it before. But it just takes training and understanding. That's why our program in Be Speech, this program is focused into heal those that judgment fear. So we treat the public speaker or the camera host from the inside to the outside.
It was, I want to share, there was a moment, and when I brought you to the Spanish show, we talked about this. There was a moment in time where it actually we had a lesson, and she started connecting with my child, little Maria, in order for me to connect with the emotions when I would speak. And it's tough. It is emotional. The process of really learning to connect, to speak authentically, because that's, when you talk about, even like people talk about Gina and I, that they like the energy, and what they see is authenticity, because we make mistakes. Okay, we make mistakes, and we're okay, because guess what? everybody makes mistakes. And people, if they're judging us, I always say the people that are judging are the people that actually need to be careful, because they need to really judge themselves that you're judging so much. And but when you get comfortable with everyone will judge you differently, and that is life. It's not going to change. And you get then to be more authentic. But then getting in touch with your emotion as we speak. And there was an improvised exercise that we did where Renata says to me, I want you to speak about Christmas in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
And I needed to make it, she tells you exactly the structure of the speech, but you need to have all of these different components, and then you have to be creative, and you have to be animated, and you have to be authentic at the same time. So all of it, but then you learn. And through the process, I mean, the lessons are, we do 2 hour long lessons, and it's a lot of work. But as I remember from the beginning to where we are now, it's like night and day. I've learned so much out the time. And I was also my ego, to make sure that my ego did not get in the way of Renata correcting me, because you're being corrected constantly. But that's why, and I said to her, I'm paying you for that. So correct me as much as you want. So I think authenticity definitely is, it's something that we need to have. And it's missing. It's missing because people are afraid of being judged.
But you know what? Can I add something to that? And I'll talk about one speech that you did. And the one, you know which one I'm talking
Yeah.
about too. At Montefiore, we were asked to speak. Maria was asked to be on the panel and speak, and she didn't use. And thank God the projector
Projector,
didn't
yeah.
work, and she didn't follow, because when she follows, she's very regimented. But the way she spoke from her heart, blew me away. And I've listened to Maria speak. I've listened to you speak over and
Yeah.
over again, but blew me away because everybody in the audience felt it. Because, like you were saying, authenticity, as well as the love for something and the knowledge of something that you actually comes out without reading it. I, I that was your turning point for me. But it was,
Thank you.
and that's all
It's
because of
very
Renata.
interesting what you're saying, because when we get to a point in which we are capable of speaking from the heart, we are being honest with what we are saying. And honesty, the word honesty comes from honor. That means that I am giving honor to what I'm saying. When you do that, that's the moment. That's the moment when you've reached all the connection with your audience. That's the moment that your audience will get goosebumps and all the things that we cry, right? What Maria was talking about that exercise that we were doing, one of the things that you have to do is to be able to be to do improvisation, but also be playful. Because if we go to our childhood, the kids, they play in order to understand, to learn. So we need to do exactly the same, and we need to go back to that moment to be able to understand how to stand in front of an audience. Because I will connect with every single heart, I will connect with every single inner child. So I need to be super connected with that. And I remember that day, Maria, because that was the day, and let me tell you, that was the day that you realized how to speak from the heart. That day. So it's a very important class for us, and we always remember that class, because that was the moment in which she came out from, she stopped being this structured CEO, to this playful, more authentic, natural speaker. And even when she's presenting, every time I see your show, I see authenticity, because you both have that natural thing that not many people have it. And it takes time to build it. But people don't understand that this is hard work, but it's so worth it, because you can get your message out. And this is why we have to be very careful with what we talk and understand that we have social responsibility every time that a word comes out our mouth. So it's always, I recommend always be guided and training by people that know how to do it.
One of the things that I know when you talked about that you cannot get too comfortable when you are presenting, like at our show. She says you always should have a little bit of that anxiety in a way, like you get a little nervous. Yeah. And Renata, it's interesting because I like what she said, that when you get too comfortable, it's almost like you come across like you don't care. It's like, and I always feel like when we're going to go live, obviously right now Gina and I have been doing this, it's almost like 3 years, probably.
While now,
Because we were out on the radio first, and then we came and started doing Facebook Live, and we are more comfortable.
Right.
But whenever the camera goes, then I personally get a little bit of like butterflies in my stomach. That's what, very little now, but at the beginning it was a lot more. Like, I felt that way.
I think we're just, it is about being comfortable, and it's also about understanding your topic. Because when, I've been in a few Facebook Live where I really didn't know the topic, it was more viewer guided, and that puts you in an uncomfortable position. So it puts you in a nervous position because you want to contribute, but don't contribute just to open your mouth. You understand what I'm saying? So but besides that, I think I love doing this with you.
Yeah. It's fun for us now.
It's what you're saying actually has a neurological reason, and it's because when we are in front of an audience, when we know that people are watching us, like I said, vulnerability comes, and because of that, our brain says threat, and adrenaline comes out, right? And that's why we sweat, we shake, different things. That it all depends on the person. There are people that their stomachs start hurting. There are people that they get like tummy upset. Based on that, there are different techniques that you can use to just not calm it all, because, like Maria said, if we do that, if we calm it and we get too comfortable, you stop caring about what you're saying, and you're not going to be conscious about every word that comes out of your mouth. So it's important to stay alert a little bit at least, but in a way that you're going to be comfortable with what you're talking about. Okay, so not shaking, no sweating, no, but always have a little bit of butterflies, have a little bit of okay, so I know about the topic, I manage everything, I am capable of talking about this topic, but I cannot get too comfy. If I get too comfy, then there's something wrong, or there's no passion about what you're talking, okay, or you don't care about the audience anymore, your ego has been interfering, etc.
Yeah. I'm actually, my daughter's getting married next Saturday, and I have to do a speech.
Congratulations.
And it's funny. Thank you. But it's funny because I'll put the speech aside till later, and then I'll figure, I'll write something, like jot some things down. But I get butterflies doing that, not because I'm nervous about what I'm saying. It's because you want to say so much, because you have so much in your heart to say, but then again, you don't want to overkill it either. So you want to try to pick the best points, to be able to say something beautiful about the couple. But but I become very focused on everything perfect instead of just scaling back of what the most important topics is for everybody else to listen to. Not everybody wants to hear all my thoughts about, my daughter. So, you have to find the right words, and it's, maybe you can help me with that.
Of course, I'll be happy. But it's very important, Gina, what you said, because people really focus on that. People really focus, and I'm going to do it perfect. Everything's going to be perfect. No. And suddenly, guess what? Something happened, and you don't know how to get out of there. Like, for example, that I tell people, I tell clients, don't memorize your speech. Don't
Right.
memorize it. Know what you're talking about. Know the structure, because we work a lot in structure. Structure is very important, but because it gives you order in your mind. And if you have that order, what happens? Then you are capable of concentrating your non-verbal communication. That is your body. You have to understand that when we speak, 95% of what we say is in our body. We say it with our bodies. So very important point, because people focus more into doing it perfect than doing it from the heart. And the funny thing is, when you do it from the heart, it's absolutely perfect. That's when you connect. That's when people go mental about it. So in this case that you're having your speech, just do it from the heart. Do it from the heart. Don't think about the perfection. I'm a perfectionist too. Actually, the other day I had a client, and he said to me, because he kind of interviewed me, it was hilarious. He called me for my services, and I was talking to him, and he said, "All right, so can you tell me what are your weaknesses, and what are your skills?" And I'm like, "Is this like a job interview?" So I said one of my weaknesses is that I am too perfectionist. I struggle sometimes with that. At the point that I get to a point in which I cannot release something or a program or whatever it is, because it's not perfect. So let's try not to focus in perfection. And thank you, Maria, because she taught me that. Let's not focus in perfection, but to really, really connect. What's the purpose of my speech? What's the purpose of what I want to say? And based on that, in your purpose, and then you work on how you're going to do it.
Yeah. So, aside from the speech, we have to also be careful of how we present ourselves, right? Because one of the things that I see, and I think we were talking the other day when Henry was at our show, we were saying how, we see people that are at home, they're not aware of like when they're in Zoom, like what are
Surroundings.
what's their surroundings. So I think people have to be careful so that they can look at the surroundings. But what are other things that you think they have to be careful when you're on Zoom, even if you're not one of the main speakers, because everybody's watching you. So, and I think they're watching you. Thank you, Henry.
He's watching.
He's watching. He's watching. Love it. Our producer.
Um, well, I think I always make sure that I look good. Okay, but that's me. I like to put some makeup. I like to at least be able to, do something in my hair, whatever it is that it will cause people to call the attention. Remember, 95% of what we say is nonverbal. So if I am showing that I put a little bit of makeup, or if you're not wearing makeup and you don't like makeup, then you can use, hair back, whatever it is that it's comfortable for you. That's in women. Men, different. I will use a nice shirt or something that it will show that you are being professional. Okay. um, Now, lighting is so important. If we don't have good lighting, then of course our video is going to look or pale, or it's going to look weird. It's going to look very, like boring. So we better have good lighting, so that will direct the attention to us. uh, audio is very important. In my case, I have microphones, because I'm not only a speech coach, I'm also a voiceover artist. But I personally purchased professional microphones, but you can find microphones for, I don't know, $35, $40, and how's it called, Henry? B&H, HMB. Yes, that B&H. Uh, that they sell everything, or even in Amazon. Uh, Audio is very important because that is not going to break. It's not going to break the line of your message. If you have audio problems, then you're done in this moment. So, but besides that, also the structure is very important. What are you going to present? We have to do an intro, always a hook. We have to start talking about with something interesting, with a story, with a detail, with something peculiar. Okay, then afterwards I go to the message. What am I going to say? How am I going to, develop this message? And then in the end, the conclusion, or how I solved the problem, to be able to show people how I solved the problem, or what happened, or how did it end. This that ended the story. So I think that those are the things that are most important. And of course, you have to be able to handle and manage the topic that you're talking about.
I think the difficult thing with the Zoom is that there's so many different people talking that you kind of fit yourself in, you know what I'm saying, during each of the topics. And I think that's what I find is more difficult when I was doing the sales stuff with Franco, for example. There's so many different topics that when you start to have your turn to speak, you kind of lose where you were, in your head, because there's so many different conversations going on. And I found that to be
Mm.
distracting for me, which is easily, I'm easily distracted. But the truth is that it was distracting for me. Like I would forget what I wanted to ask, or I would, because I'm so focused on what other people were saying, that you forget these things. And then when you're in Zoom, I guess people don't realize you actually could jot things down.
Yeah.
You don't realize that it's not a conversation that we're just having, and we've had senior moments all the time where we forget. but the truth of the matter is that it's very difficult with Zoom. We do.
That's
We are, and Marie
amazing.
Yeah,
and I always say, sorry, having a senior moment.
I know.
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
do you
I have them
remember?
all. I have them all the time. I have them all the time.
Oh, the funny thing is hearing my daughter say that, she's like, I'm having a senior moment.
Oh, she says it?
I'm like, if you are, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you're really in trouble. I'm in trouble.
Yeah, but this
I
is,
have them all the time, and they say
Renata,
when that happens, that one of the techniques that I apply in my courses is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. There's a technique that if you forget about something, put your eyes up to your right, and you will remember it. Interesting, huh?
oh,
Hmm.
wow.
Yeah,
We're going to be looking
that's
at
how.
the right a lot.
The whole day. The whole day. Maria's gonna be like one eye this way.
That's great.
Renata, you know what? Before we end, like, let people know what you do, because it's quite interesting, right? You threw quite a few little words out there, so tell people what you do exactly.
So I am a professional speech coach. I have my master's in broadcasting. I'm a journalist. That's my career. I studied that in university. And I have more than 13 years in the media field as a reporter and a TV host and also a radio host. I'm also a voiceover artist. And because of all that, well, I'm a singer too. And because of all that, of all this, I just grabbed together all of these things that I have and skills that I have, and I turn it into a public speaking and on camera school in which I train people to speak in camera confidently in a very authentic way, and also I train people to speak in public also confidently and in a very authentic way. So I'm Renata Lendes, your speech coach, and you can find me in Instagram and on Facebook. You can send me a message if you're interested. We have several programs depending on what you need. It's been a year, and I've always been giving private lessons because it's easier for me to custom the class. If you need this for sales, is different than needing training for being a speaker. Is different for being a on-camera host. So everything, of my trainings are related. It all depends on what are your needs. So you can contact me through social media. whatever you need.
And the links are going to be on our Facebook comments to your website and to your Instagram. This was a fun show, actually. I enjoy interviewing my speech coach. I get to be the interviewer and ask all the questions.
You
But
haven't sent me your homeworks, Maria. You have to send me your homeworks.
I know. But you know what we're working on. Renata is working with us on the Yo Digo No Más movement, which we're going to start talking about it a lot. We had an amazing meeting and talking about Zoom. We had a Zoom meeting, and I was thinking of what you were saying, how difficult it is, to make sure that everybody gets to speak and that you choose. I was sort of the one directing, and I think that's important that whoever is the main speaker, that they have to really be focused on the people to make sure that they give a chance to speak
to everybody. Because a lot of people take over. And then you don't get a word in.
So, but Renata is helping with this movement, and I want to thank you for the support that you've given me for almost a year now, in helping me become a better speaker, a better presenter, and hopefully, not hopefully, when we take this worldwide, because that's the idea of the movement, Yo Digo No Más, you will be right by my side, and I want to thank you personally for the work that you've done with me and the movement.
Well, for me, it's been definitely an honor. You told me in another interview that we did for what's the other show? Senior Moment.
Reflexiones con María. Reflexiones
Yes,
con María.
You told me that you chose me, and it's very interesting how people just get into your paths just when you need them. And it's the most interesting thing is that you needed me and I needed you, because in the end, it's everything is, you gave me, I gave you, and it turns into a common unity, community. So I love that word, common unity, community. So I love that what you're doing right now. I absolutely love it. For me, it's an honor to be your speech coach, but also it is an honor for me to be part of this incredible movement that it will definitely take over the world, because it has to be like that. It has to be. There's no other way. And I'm so proud of you both, of everything you do for our community, what you do at Formé, you and your staff. How are you incredibly serving people with all of your intention? Remember that the word, I love that word, intention, the strength of the heart, right? So with all of your intention, you're just being there, serving our community. So thank you both, because for me it has been an honor to be able to work for you.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. In thanking, we want to thank our producer, Henry. Henry, say hello to everybody.
Thank you, Henry.
Henry's
there he is.
There he is. I tell Henry, I love that shot. And Henry's information also feed, after the Facebook.
Line AV.
Yeah. So that if you want to get in touch with Henry, who is an amazing producer, has, really a great structure, and we are a team, so thank you so much. And we want to thank every one of you for joining us and for liking our show. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And at Formé,
our mission is your help.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.